What's the biggest barrier to implementing the Sustainable Development Goals? And what can, in your case, Islamic Relief do to address the biggest barrier?
So I think the SDGs are inextricably linked with the environment. I think that if you were to look through not just the goals, but also the actions sort of beneath the goals, the constraints on achieving those goals are environmental. That's almost a truism, because environment means everything that's not you. But I think that if you bring in the question of planetary boundaries and the idea of eradicating poverty, to look at SDG 1, but doing it within the planetary and social boundaries that Kate Hayworth has elaborated in the donut theory, then I think that's the barrier, that's the constraint, that we can't achieve the SDGs on the basis of continuing economic growth. I think that going to the sort of economic analysis that might appeal to the sort of G20 finance ministers is the need to address imbalances between the humanity's demand, and nature's supply, and look at ways of increasing nature's supply by marshalling nature rather than exploiting it. Obviously, it's about changing. I'm still trying to refer to the SDGs and the environmental barriers to their achievement. We must change consumption and production patterns. We've got to change measures of economic progress. We've got to transform institutions and systems. We've got to look at what the nature of public goods are. Got to empower the citizenry. A very simple. I mean, one of the biggest constraints on the SDGs is debt, and so there needs to be a new Jubilee debt campaign leading to universal debt forgiveness. And I think this is particularly pertinent as the debt of the poorest countries will be increasing so hugely over the decades following the pandemic. And I think that the message to what we can do, if we're talking about Islamic Relief or talking about the faith sector, if that's the right word, in general, it's to repeat the education, to reiterate the education, or to initiate the education of ourselves. We are part of nature, and nature nurtures us. I think from the final sort of, I suppose, rejoinder, my background is in education, and I personally don't believe that education systems are capable of doing that education, because though they are founded, the education systems throughout the world are founded on replication and competition and massive institutional constraints, which are the norms of schooling. I think this probably goes to the message to the faith grouping, that this is the critical area where faith and its encouragement of reflection and wonder can make a unique and planet-saving contribution.